Yeah. So I want to explain some things to people out here who want to hear now. Who willing to listen and want to know. Government is not real. Government is a slave system. It's a private corporation. You hear the name? Regional corporations. Corporations. Companies. Like fifth company. First company. Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That is a company. That is a company that all the citizens registered in this company as stock and as employees. But there are employees who agree to accept no payment, no remunerations, free services they render. And in lieu of payment, that's not doing that. Instead, instead of payment, the citizens agree that they would pay. They would pay taxes. You understand? So you're paying twice. Because the reality of the situation is that the government don't own anything. It's part of the reason why the government saying that they sell the pitch lake. They didn't sell no pitch lake. Can't sell a pitch lake. Why you sell a pitch lake? Why you sell it? Why you lease it? Who gave you permission to sell it? If you sell something and you don't own it, what is that? You can't sell that. Somebody can't buy that. They have no ownership over it. But what they have is ownership over the people. And the people continually signing documents to give the government authority to do business on their behalf. So they probably sell the rights that the people give them. But they don't own anything. What we call in court and law and thing is just tax systems, different types of tax. You know, that tax where you pay the dime, you pay the fine with a dime, or it's a tax where you pay the fine in the terms of time, time served, in their prison system, prison, prison system. So they lock you up in a cage, and before you go in, they make you sign something saying that you give up your rights to them. They controlling all your assets now, so they can use that to go and make money with it now. You understand? Because the people born on the land, so they own the land. The creator of everything put you here on the land. And the land, if you look in law dictionaries, like the most popular one is Black's Law. Black's Law Dictionary. You can get it on the internet and Google. And you look for land. You're going to understand what the land really is. The land is everything. The land is the dirt, what below the dirt, what above the dirt, what is passed across the dirt, what is passed through the dirt, what is passed below the dirt. Everything. The buildings, the plants, the trees, the animals, the human beings, everything. The water vapor in the clouds, everything. That is what land refers to. And that is what you own. But you give up that to become a citizen and complain. Complaining that They ain't doing enough. They ain't doing it right. You feel they don't know how to do it? They know exactly how to do it. They choose to do it this way so that you would be complaining. Because behind your complaint is a negative situation, is a frustration, is a depression, is a anger, is an emotional situation that causing you to complain. And that cause behind the symptom. The symptom is the complaint, right? The cause behind the symptom is what they tax. Basically, they like to see you frustrated, but not so frustrated that you go try to get a solution on your own. They want you frustrated just the right amount. You hear what Mbut say? In the House of Lies? That is what Parliament means. Check it up. French, Parliament means House of Lies. He said that, he raised the tax, nobody in complain. He raised it again, they in protest. So he go raise it again. You understand? That is how the order going. They tell the people a story. Well, plenty stories, eh? But the biggest one to me is that they come from Africa. Tell the people they come from Africa. Nobody ain't come from Africa. Let me rephrase that. Them ain't bring nobody from Africa. You understand? That whole transatlantic slave trade is a lie. It's a fraud. Never happened. You understand? It never happened. They have ships, they could find evidence and trace everything with Mansa Musa when he was sailing in the 12th century. 200 years later, there are no record on none of them ships. There are ships, slave ships, but they're docking in Europe. There are no slave ships coming across here. Nobody come from, no, they didn't bring no slaves from Africa. Everybody from right here, from the Americas. They mightn't been from this island. I wanna say you. I'm talking about you in your totality, in your whole self. Because the being who listening to this right now, watching this video right now, you was here for a period of time, you know, less than 100 years, however old you are, this physical body. But this physical body is not you. You are the present existence of your ancient ancestors in 2025. You are the embodiment of the chiefs, the caciques, the princes and princesses, kings and queens of the realm in present time. If you go back 1,000 years, you go see the castle all used to rocking, all used to function. You understand? If you just go back 300-400 years, you go realize, with your real eyes, that we used to move through this whole zone in steamship. I come across that steamship, I was like, wow, a steamship? Can you imagine a steamship? Like the fuel for a steamship is wood now. Dry wood to burn. Just wood. Once again, a dry hardwood that can burn and pushing off heat for a period of time. That is our power in the ship. So you could imagine moving anyway. You just pull up on a beach, organize a pile of wood, and put it in the engine. Bob's the uncle, you're on your way. Compared to now, the amount of rigmarole you have to go through. You know? And they say this is modern, suggesting it better. Worse. Way worse. You understand? The whole system is a fraud. And the sooner we come to terms with that and separate ourselves from that, the faster and better. The faster we life would get better, and the better we life will get faster. The life will get better faster. Understand? Yeah, because what you earning, what they giving you as payment for services rendered, I don't care what you're doing. I don't care what it is you're doing. Anything you're doing. Whatever they're giving you is 1/10 of what you're supposed to get. Minimum 1/10. Some people getting less than 1/10. But what they're giving you to live the life after you render services in order to live the life, which is a fraud in itself. How you got born here? How you got born here? And you had to work to live. You know, we just got accustomed to things now, but how, why, how? I don't see any hummingbirds working to live. I don't see any fish working to live. You know, I look at lizard now past it. You know, he ain't working to live. He looking like he working, but he just come out to eat our food. You understand? When you ready to sleep, he go and sleep. When you ready to bathe or whatever he just do to refresh himself, he would go and do it. He don't need to work for it. He don't need to pay anybody for water. You understand? He don't need to pay anybody for electricity. You say, well, alright, electricity, modern conveniences, living part of the modern world, you want to enjoy this, you have to pay for it. No, 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 no. This is where the existence is right now. This is the life right now. The life at this moment in time revolves around electricity for most people, you know. But they want to make it out like whoever you have now is a blessing they give you. So you have to be eternally grateful to them. Give me a fucking chance with that, like. Well, you know how the sun from? Well, you know how the moon does work? You know nothing. So how come you in charge? Answer? You in charge. But you don't know anything. Understand? You don't know anything. They have theories. Theories, theories, theories. And the most advanced theory right now, they call it quantum theory. You know what they're talking about? Fucking Obia. Obia. That's what quantum theory is about. Obia. Walking Obia. Talking to spirits and dealing with spirits and having interactions and communications and storing information and downloading the information off of spirits, fairies, light beings. Yeah? Sound familiar? Oshun, Krishna, Buddha. Sound familiar? All these things are fraud. And they reach a state right now where there's so much fraud they're dealing with that it's like they build a house with cobweb. And I ain't talking about no black widow spider cobweb, that shit strong. I'm talking about, you understand? Tarantella spider web they build it with. Baby stuff. And the whole thing collapsing. You understand? So while the thing collapsing, when I say collapsing, I want you picture the house fucking falling down. It's falling down. While it's falling down, they're running. I have everybody running around, busy, patching up this and fixing this and saying you have to do more. You have to do more. I had to do more. I had to do more. I had to do more. I've been doing more a while now, so yeah. I've been doing more. What about all the money, all the old people? You understand? What's going on with that? We going on forget that? And move on. To our next racket. We're going to thief some more. Who could thief more than who? That's the order. And if you get catch, you say you're a criminal. If you don't pay them a cut, that is where it really boils down to. Because whether you get catch or not, it doesn't matter. Nobody in calling you no criminal. Is when you do pay them the portion, the cut, the feudal lord system, feudal lords. A man just jump up all day and say, right, I'm in charge. I running this operation here. And everybody had to pay him for protection. You don't pay him for protection, off with your head. You wasn't protected. Like the same kind of racket them trying to run here. You understand? Same kind of racket. You know? Nobody on this island need anything from the government. Don't need anything from the government. I've been real with all you. Give me an example of something you need from the government. I could show you how anybody else could provide that same thing more efficiently with less, at a lower rate, less payment required, lower rate, and way more efficient. I say efficient twice because I have to tell you how incompetent they are. The government doesn't own anything. The only way somebody could claim ownership over something is if they know how it formed, how it is made. That is the basic. If you own something, repeat it. Do it again, let me see. Make it again. Make a sun. Make a moon. Understand? And then we could talk about who own. I'm not saying I own it. The documents say I own it. Understand? The historical documents, the law documents, the religious documents all say I own it. Plus my intuition concurs. I think so. Self-realization, self-determination. Only I could decide and determine what I am, who I am. Nobody could tell me who I am. And I say I own it. Understand? All your documents support that. The so-called constitution, the beginning of the constitution, it stated very clearly. I don't understand how them could be running around still with this racket. It's right there. And that is the constitution. The constitution, how it go? All inhabitants have the right, all inhabitants of the land have the right to live their life. Practice their own culture, eat their own food, live their life the way they see fit. Right, live their life. The only way these rights could be circumvented or changed or altered or amended in any way is by due process of law. So they have a due process of law would intimidate parents to register the baby using fear and fraud. And when they do it, when they register the baby, the registrar general, hear the word, is a general, is a fucking war going on by. The surgeon general is the person in charge of the medical field, is a general. A general. The registrar general, the surgeon general, is war, boy. Is war. And only running around studying about money and hey. There's war going on. The man is a general. He dress up in a pretty suit and tie with nice, calm and pleasant colors. He's speaking in a tone that giving some kind of authority on the matter. Is a general fighting war. You understand? It have no reason for that word to be in their title. General at Ride. The minister. Minister? A minister is a priest. It have no other form of the word minister other than to mean priest. It is being used here on this island and nobody making a public connection between these terms. But a minister, a prime minister, is a mean priestess involving spiritual conjure. That is what priests and priestesses do. They utilize the higher realms, the spiritual realms, meaning the higher energy realms. And what these ministers are doing, using that power and that energy to enslave the people, to keep them in a cycle. They just working, constantly working. If my grandfather built a house and my father built a house, why the fuck I build a house? There's a housing scheme we building now. Everybody building a house then. Like, think about it. Why everybody have to be building a house all the time? Why the house lasting 30 years? You know? Like, dirt houses last over 100 years. But they convince the people that a dirt house is poor people thing. Now, what is poor? What is poor? Poor is a mindset. Poor has nothing to do with how much money you have, you know. Poor is a mindset. A mindset of lack that you don't have. You don't have enough. You don't have any. You're broken. You're brooks. You're poor. That's what poor is. Poor has nothing to do with what kind of house you living in. Understand? If you eat breadfruit, that make you poor. Or breadfruit is poor people food. You can't use that. Breadfruit is one of the most nutritious foods. It's not me saying it now, but they do tests. They call them things superfood. They don't even just call it food. They call them things superfood. Cucumber, breadfruit. Well, that's all I can think of right now. That is superfoods. These things so high in nutrition. They're so beneficial to the body that it's in a category above the rest. So how you could call that poor people food? You understand? Poor is a mindset. It's not poor people house. It's not poor people food. You understand? It's our mindset of poor. Meaning that you're living in lack. Meaning that you're always feeling that you don't have enough. So you have to do more. You always have to be doing more because you're poor. Rich people don't have to do because they're rich. It has nothing to do with how much money in the bank, big the house is, how much pipe in the house. You understand? It's a mindset. Anybody can be poor. Any amount of money in the bank, you can live like a pauper, function like a pauper. You understand? So coming back to the first point, the government is a fraud. The government telling the babies in the school that when the colonials land on this island, it didn't have nothing here. It had a bunch of half-naked barbarians running around here with no semblance of order. A set of tribes all over, scattered all over, disconnected. Fuckery. You understand? Look how bountiful the land is. Look how easy thing this grows. It think people would have been on this island for thousands of years and then do some serious cultivation. How easy it is to function. Throw down a tree and, you know, they get on like if when they come, they don't know iron here. Yeah? They don't know iron here. So what the copper era was about, by 1200 and thing, copper age, the bronze age, the iron age. Where the fuck all they get them thing from, by? They just pull up any documentary on YouTube and go and check it now. Go and check it. See what the copper age is about. Yeah? See all these places in Europe that was supposedly mining copper. But every place where they supposedly mining copper on a river, on the coastline, that is unique basic copper form, or that is where there was offload in the ship when they bring it from here. You know, the Grand Canyon, it's not looking like a copper, you know, harvesting zone, copper mining operation. You ever look at a copper mining operation? A picture of a place that there was mining elements. That'll be copper alone. Just look at how the land is looking and then look at the picture of the Grand Canyon and see what is it. You understand? You see where they get all them things from now, boy? And more than likely is we carry it across here. Because there's a current in the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean is not just a big mass of water just deep. There's a river in it. They call it the Gulf Stream. There's a river. And it is fed. It starts with the Orinoco River from Venezuela. It's Venezuela, yeah. Venezuela emptying into the Gulf. South of this island, Trinidad. That is what starts this Gulf Stream River that flows through the Atlantic. Flows up northwards on the eastern coast of North America, cut across to Europe, south of Greenland, and you know, make the whole rounds, come back down UK, Spain, North Africa, West Africa, and come back across the Atlantic to Brazil, come up the western coastline of South America. I don't know if I need to draw a picture for people to understand these things, but there's a river now, boy. And the river just flew across from the Americas to Europe. Yeah? So, to me, the most obvious movement of people would have take place from this side going across it. With no assistance, once you could float under water, it carry you across it. That is what they say. I didn't see. That is what them say. They have evidence to support what they say. You know? It have cedar tree that is only found on Trinidad, on this island. A certain type, a certain species of cedar. Eh? And they could confirm it by testing the wood and realize the material in the wood mean that the tree was in this particular soil. This soil is found on this island. Good. So the tree come from here. The tree in Norway, piece of wood on the beach in Norway, trying to figure out how that reach here. It's in England. You understand? It's in Spain. All on the beach in Portugal, them thing washing up. Like, wait now. You see where it come from? Current carry it across. There's nothing from that side coming here. Current don't move, so it is moved from the Americas across easternly across the Atlantic. So it's real fraud, eh? I need you to understand this is real fraud. It is not so much fraud that the average human mind can't overcome it. Anybody could figure it out. Anybody could overcome it. Because so much fraud. Any one of the stories could be broken down and you could see the truth versus the shit that is be talking. You know? That ship they say brings slaves from Africa to here. You could picture being in that ship. You see how that ship stacked? They say, oh yeah, plenty of people used to dead. Everybody would have dead. Everybody would have dead. You know? Is a as one of my teachers say, is a gas chamber now, boy. This section of the ship where they say they're storing where the people used to be, the slaves, is below the water level now. So it had to be airtight. So the only way air getting in there is through the same path that people passing to go down. The same door that it had no window in that in what's what getting at. It had no window inside it. So it's a sealed area. As the ship leave the harbor, men gonna start to vomit. Trust me, I just go on boat. Especially that first one you know kick off the anyways there. Ha! Man gonna vomit within hours of the ship launching. Hours. Now you ain't talk shit and piss. Eh? All these things mixing together. The liquids, the solids, the fumes, the ammonia. In days now, boy, that whole zone, that whole section of that ship going to be full of fumes. Understand? Anybody dead in the flesh going to be rotting in no time. Because the whole zone is a petri dish of decomposition. It's not 10 men dead or 20 men dead. No, everybody would have dead. In the space of a week. The say journey used to take 3 months. 3 months to sail the Atlantic? I watch a video of a man sail the Pacific in 1 month by himself. Why taking 3 months to sail the Atlantic? Well, they lost her. It's 2 weeks it has take to cross the water. I never do it personally, but I see real evidence of men doing it. I see them men build a boat and they cross it in what? 9 days? 9 days. Real hyperman thing. Them boy them run down a fucking storm. There was a storm in front and a storm behind and them in the middle. So they moving at that speed. Storm speed. And they do it I think is 9 days. Only taking 3 months by the way. 3 months? It just take 1 month across the Pacific and that is the biggest one. So just fuck you all wrong now, buddy. Fuck you all wrong with them. Just lies upon lies. And the only way to keep the lie alive that they keep you busy. You're running at full speed, full steam, non-stop. I remember in my teenage years, them started to talk that if you really want to be comfortable in this life, you gotta have more than one job. Where the mother can buy? So when I going to wash my balls and all them things, babe, I have to have more than one job. You understand? Slave thing now, babe. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know if any people really going and, I don't know. It would be nice. It would be nice if people could wake up, people could, start to function on that level that them in charge of their life and they're doing what they have to do and, similar minds like this meet up and you could do things now, bro. You could cross barriers and frontiers and you could make change and improvement. But this spinning top in fucking mother right through over and over, the same thing over and over. You telling me, boy? But go from here with that, boy. Well, do something now, boy. Do something now. Do something. Read a book. Come on for Instagram and go and Google something now, boy. Go and see where's our Black Slow dictionary. Go and see what land mean in that dictionary. Go and see where's our black man in that dictionary. They like to boast and say all they black. Go and see where's our black law. Where's our black man according to the law. Fuck this party. Fuck the soca party. You know, they're talking about the black man. See what the law consider a black man to be. And you understand, you go start to understand what it is they're talking about. But what are we really doing? What is this? Is that life? Serious? They live it? You know? You are the biggest pitch lake on the planet. Trinidad have the biggest pitch lake on the planet. I watching a documentary the other day, them men crossing the Amazon forest on a plane. In a plane. You dig? And them men flying for hours. And it's just forests. Up and down, mountain and rivers and valleys, and so it's going to just forests for hours. It is take about what? Hour to fly around Trinidad? 1 hour. You fly around the whole thing. You dig? The men flying in a straight line for hours. 3 hours. And the plane just going and just moving. Straight line. It just forest as far as the eye can see. And this little island had the biggest pitch lake on the planet. Like if you wanted the creator of the universe to bless you with good road, you know what he'd do? He'd give you the biggest pitch lake on the planet. That go be his solution, trust me. That's the first thing gonna come up with. But you only think about a pitch lake, but a big one. Big one. Because that's the main ingredient in good road, right? How come the road so bad? I talk about Frederick Street in Port of Spain, you know. It's a hole that you could lose a 4x4 in. You understand? We ain't talking about Monkey Tongue and thing yet, you know. We talking about Frederick Street in Port of Spain. Charlotte Street. You understand? How come the road so bad? Because they're not concerned with fixing any road. They're concerned with keeping you in a state of frustration so that you would be distracted from the fact that you own everything. They owns nothing.